This video will help you realize that your pain wasn't pointless. It was preparing you for something greater. From all of us here, may peace and clarity be with you, wherever you are on your journey. What if the worst thing that ever happened to you was actually the beginning of something sacred? Have you ever sat in silence and asked yourself, why did I have to go through all that? Why did life take away the people I loved? Why so much pain? For what? You tried your best. You loved deeply. You gave your all. And yet, you were left with broken pieces, a wounded heart, regrets, confusion. If you've ever felt that way, then this message is for you. There's a quiet truth in Buddhist wisdom that says, no mud, no lotus. Without the mud, the dark, sticky, painful moments, the lotus cannot grow. In other words, without your suffering, there would be no awakening. Before we begin this journey together, I invite you to pause for just a moment. If you find comfort in Buddhist teachings, if you seek healing and peace from ancient wisdom, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us reach more people who may need exactly what you're about to hear, and it lets you stay connected to more content, just like this. Now, let me ask you something deeper. What if everything you've been through, the heartbreak, the failure, the loss, was not meaningless? What if it wasn't punishment, but preparation? What if the pain you carry today was the very thing shaping the strength you'll need tomorrow? Today, we're going to explore a different way of looking at your past, a way that brings clarity, peace, and a sense of purpose. Through the lens of timeless Buddhist wisdom, we'll walk through 4 powerful teachings from the Buddha that reveal how even your deepest pain can lead to your greatest awakening. This isn't theory. This is practice. And once you see your story through this lens, you'll never look at your suffering the same way again. So take a breath, and let's begin. One of the first things the Buddha taught after his awakening was this simple yet powerful truth. Everything is impermanent. Everything you love, everything you fear, everything that causes you joy or pain is constantly changing. But let's be honest, most of us don't live that way. We cling. We hold on to what we love and try to push away what we don't. We beg for good moments to stay, and we wish the painful ones had never happened at all. But life doesn't work like that. The truth is, the very nature of life is movement. Just like waves rise and fall, just like seasons come and go. Your emotions, your struggles, your circumstances, they're all in motion. That means your pain is not permanent. Maybe you're carrying a loss that still makes your chest ache when you think about it. Maybe you wake up every day with regret, shame, or disappointment, and it feels like it will never end. But it will. This too shall pass. The Buddha once told a story of a woman named Kisa Gotami. Her child had died, and she was consumed by grief. She went from house to house, begging for medicine to bring her child back to life. People thought she was mad, until she came to the Buddha. Instead of dismissing her pain, he told her, "Bring me a mustard seed from any household that has never experienced death." She searched. She knocked on every door, but every family, every single one, had lost someone. That was when she realized suffering is universal, and everything, even life itself, is impermanent. In that realization, something shifted in her. She didn't get her child back, but she began the process of healing. Impermanence doesn't mean we don't feel pain. It doesn't mean we forget the people we've lost or the things we've endured. It means we learn to let go of the idea that any feeling, any failure, any wound is final, because it's not. Even your deepest sorrow is part of a cycle. And just as night turns into day, your sorrow can turn into strength. Now, this isn't just spiritual talk. Modern psychology backs this up. Studies show that emotions, even intense ones like grief or heartbreak, rise and fall in waves. They're not static. They move. They change. But here's the key. You have to allow them to move. If you resist, suppress, or deny what you feel, you get stuck. The pain lingers. It hardens. It becomes part of your identity. But if you acknowledge it, if you breathe through it, if you say, "This hurts, but I know it won't last forever," Then you open the door to transformation. So today, let this be your gentle reminder. Whatever you're carrying, whatever is breaking your heart, it will pass. You may not know when, you may not know how, but just like every storm eventually clears, your sky will open again. In Buddhism, impermanence is not a threat. It's a promise that you are not stuck, a promise that change is always possible, a promise that healing is not only available, it is inevitable when you stop resisting. Take one deep breath and let this truth settle in your heart. Everything is impermanent, everything changes, and that includes the pain you're feeling right now. One of the most misunderstood truths in Buddhism is this: nothing happens by accident. Everything, every moment, every experience, every relationship, every loss arises from causes and conditions. This is the teaching of dependent origination, or in simpler terms, everything arises because something else made it possible. It may sound philosophical at first, but once you truly see this, your entire perspective on life, especially your pain, begins to change. Think about it. That breakup that shattered you, that job you lost, that one decision you still regret, they weren't isolated events. They were part of a web of conditions, some of which you created, some of which you inherited, and some far beyond your control. And yet, they brought you to where you are now. The Buddha taught, when this exists, that arises. When this ceases, that ceases. In other words, life unfolds like a chain reaction, not as punishment, but as a natural flow of cause and effect. Now, you might ask, so, are you saying my suffering is my fault? Not at all. Buddhist wisdom isn't about blame. It's about understanding. There's a big difference between blaming yourself and understanding the deeper roots of your experience. Let's take an example. Imagine a seed. If you plant a mango seed, you don't get a coconut tree. You get a mango tree. The result depends on the cause. In the same way, certain thoughts, choices, environments, and karmic patterns create the conditions for your experiences. But just like a garden, the outcome isn't only about the seed. It also depends on the soil, the weather, the care, the timing. So no, it's not your fault. But yes, it's worth understanding how everything came to be. Let's go deeper. Many people suffer from the question, why did this happen to me? But Buddhist practice invites a different question. What were the conditions that allowed this to happen? And what can I change going forward? That shift in mindset turns you from a passive victim of life into an active participant in your own healing. Let me share a story. There's an old tale of a monk who was struck by an arrow. Instead of asking, who shot me? Or why me? He focused on the arrow itself, removing it, treating the wound, and healing. Why? Because asking why in the middle of suffering often deepens the pain. But asking how can I move forward, opens the path to wisdom. In modern terms, this teaching aligns with the psychological concept of cognitive reframing. Instead of asking, why is life doing this to me? We ask, what can I learn from this? Or, what meaning can I create from this? When we understand that everything has a cause, we stop taking pain personally. We see it as part of a larger unfolding, an intricate dance of karma, choice, and growth. And here's the good news. If everything has a cause, then healing does too. You can plant new seeds. You can create new conditions. You can change your inner world, and slowly, patiently, your outer world will respond. So the next time life throws something unexpected at you, instead of asking, why me? Pause and ask, what are the deeper causes here? And what seed do I want to plant now? Because every moment is a seed, and you are the gardener. No one wants to suffer. No one wakes up and says, today I hope my heart breaks. And yet, when you look back at your life, isn't it true that some of your greatest growth came after your greatest pain? In Buddhism, suffering is not seen as a curse. It's seen as a teacher, a mirror, a doorway. The Buddha himself began his spiritual journey not in comfort, but in suffering. He saw sickness, aging, and death. He realized that no matter how much pleasure or wealth he had, he could not escape the reality of loss and impermanence. That realization didn't destroy him. It awakened him. This is one of the most radical truths of the Buddha's teaching, that your suffering, if you face it with awareness, can lead you to freedom. Most of us try to avoid pain. We distract ourselves. We numb it. We run away from it. But in doing so, we also run away from the wisdom hidden inside it. Pain is a signal. It tells you that something matters, that something needs to be seen, heard, or healed. Have you ever noticed that it's often in your lowest moments when your heart becomes the most open? When you're cracked open, the light can finally get in. There's a saying in Zen, the obstacle is the path. That heartbreak, that failure, that loss, they aren't detours. They are the very path you were meant to walk, so you could return to yourself. Let me tell you the story of Angulimala. He was once a feared killer, feared by many, lost in hatred and confusion. But one day, he met the Buddha, and in that meeting, something shifted. He dropped his weapons, he dropped his past, and he became a monk, eventually attaining deep peace and compassion. What changed him? It wasn't being judged or punished. It was being seen, understood, offered a new path. Even the darkest past can lead to the most radiant awakening, not despite the suffering, but because of it. Modern science tells us something similar. Psychologists talk about post-traumatic growth, the idea that people can emerge from trauma with more clarity, gratitude, and wisdom than before. But this only happens when we stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this here to teach me?" That's not always easy. Some wounds are deep. Some pain takes years to understand. But just for a moment, imagine this. Imagine that your pain was not the end of your story. It was the middle, the turning point. Imagine that your tears watered the seeds of something sacred. Imagine that nothing was wasted. Not the silence, not the heartbreak, not the nights you cried alone. Everything led you here, to this moment, to this reflection. So don't be afraid of your suffering. Sit with it, listen to it, let it open your heart. Because sometimes the wound is where the wisdom begins. Sometimes we go through so much that we begin to believe our pain is who we are. You lose someone you love and start to believe you're meant to be alone. You fail at something important and begin to think you're a failure. You experience rejection and assume you're not enough. And slowly, without noticing, you wear your wounds like an identity. But Buddhist wisdom offers you a truth that can change everything. You are not your trauma. You are not your thoughts. You are not the pain you carry. You are the awareness behind all of it. The Buddha used a beautiful analogy. He said the mind is like a sky. Your emotions, your memories, your past, they are like clouds. Sometimes the sky is clear. Sometimes it's stormy. But the sky itself is never harmed by the passing clouds. The same is true for you. No matter how dark the thoughts, no matter how heavy the story, your true nature remains untouched. This is the essence of what Buddhism calls anatta, the teaching of non-self. It doesn't mean you don't exist. It means that the fixed identity you cling to, the labels, the stories, the pain, is not the real you. There's a still, silent, spacious awareness within you. It has been there before the pain. It remains during the pain, and it will still be there when the pain is gone. You can notice this for yourself. Close your eyes for a moment and bring to mind a painful memory. Now, observe the feeling it brings. Where is it in your body? What thoughts come up? Now shift your attention. Who is observing that feeling? Who is watching that thought? That quiet witness? That is who you really are. Not the memory, not the emotion, but the one who sees it. When you realize this, healing becomes possible, because you're no longer trapped inside the story. You can hold it with compassion, but you no longer have to be it. Let's make this even simpler. If you walk through a fire and get burned, the scar on your skin may remain, but that scar does not define your worth. It does not tell the world who you are. It only shows that you were strong enough to survive. The same goes for emotional wounds. They are not signs of weakness. They are proof that you felt deeply, that you cared, that you lived. And the beauty is, you don't have to carry them forever. You can learn from them, honor them, and then, when the time is right, you can let them go. Because you are not what happened to you. You are not your past. You are the present moment. You are the breath you're taking right now. You are the space that holds it all. Let that truth settle in. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are becoming. And nothing you've been through has the power to define you, unless you choose to give it that power. So today, take that power back. Remember the sky. Let the clouds pass. And come home to who you truly are. Take a moment now to look back at everything we've explored together. You've been through pain. You've carried loss. You've lived through moments where it felt like the world had forgotten you. But even in those moments, something was quietly unfolding. Not as punishment, not as coincidence, but as part of a larger path, a deeper unfolding of your inner growth. From Buddhist wisdom, we've uncovered 4 simple but powerful truths. First, everything is impermanent. No feeling, no moment, no pain lasts forever. This truth frees us from fear and reminds us that healing is always possible. Second, everything has a cause. Nothing happens in isolation. Every experience arises from many conditions coming together. Understanding this gives us insight, compassion, and the power to choose new directions in our lives. Third, suffering is not meaningless. It can be the beginning of awakening. When we stop running from pain and start listening to it, we often find our deepest wisdom waiting within it. And fourth, you are not what happened to you. You are not your trauma, not your regrets, not your fears. You are the awareness that holds all of it. You are more spacious, more resilient, more beautiful than your wounds could ever define. So maybe now, the question is no longer, why did I go through all of that? But, what did it teach me? What did it awaken in me that comfort never could? The Buddha never promised a life without pain, but he did offer a way to understand it, to walk through it, and to find peace within it. That path is still open, right here, right now, for you. If there is one thing to take from this entire journey, let it be this. Nothing you've experienced is wasted. Not the tears, not the silence, not the nights when you felt like giving up. All of it mattered. All of it shaped you. All of it led you here, to this moment of deeper awareness. You are the lotus, and the mud you came through was never a mistake. It was your path. So let yourself feel proud. Not because everything went the way you wanted, but because you stayed, because you grew, because somehow you kept walking. Before we close this video, I invite you to pause and reflect. What is one painful experience from your past that helped shape who you are today? What strength did it awaken in you? What has it taught you about love, about resilience, about what really matters? If you feel comfortable, share it in the comments below. Your story might be the light someone else needs. And if this message brought you peace or clarity, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow, but more importantly, it helps this wisdom reach others who may be suffering in silence right now. And finally, if there's one small thing you can do today, just one step, let it be this. Take 5 minutes to sit quietly, close your eyes, breathe gently, and simply repeat to yourself, everything I went through has shaped me. Nothing was wasted. I am still here, and I am still becoming. That is more than enough. Thank you for being here. May you be well. May you be peaceful. And may you remember that everything you went through had a purpose.